I like to know where people stand so I know how to treat you accordingly.
They be trying to do it, I'm just doing me. I be working hard and they just want it free.
Be competitive with yourself. Hey, what's going on? I'll make this last video really quickly. So this video right here is about portable speakers. So as you can see, I'm not in my home or anything like that. I'm just doing these little traveling moves and stuff like that, right? So I got a lot of these Sony speakers. I'm not brand like loyal necessarily, but when I get comfortable with a brand and they satisfy me, I kind of just tend to stick with that brand for the most part. But I don't have to have all this brand or all that brand. I'm pretty open, right? The only thing is there's some advantages. So most of the speakers I got are Sony speakers, right? The portable ones, I think it's the 5 series or whatever, X something, and they got the X43 and all this other stuff. I have almost all of them. The thing of it is, there's benefits to having, say, all Sonys because you can connect them together. So if you have a whole bunch of them, you built the small ones to the big ones, you can have them all synced together. It's pretty cool. I like that. When you take stuff like I think a lot of people like JBLs and stuff like that. The JBLs are cool and they probably do have more bass and etc. But I personally feel like from a music studio background is a lot of JBL monitors, like studio listening monitors. If you don't know what a monitor is, it's basically a speaker. They have really good bass, but they're also known to kind of fail pretty quickly as well. So when I look at it from that standpoint, I'm kind of like, longevity wise, should it matter for little speakers and stuff? Maybe not, but it's just kind of tainted my thought of them, meaning that they're good speakers, but I feel like they're not good quality control necessarily. They're kind of known to blow and stuff like that, the JBL monitors. So I kind of like have that in my head, even though the monitors versus the house speakers are kind of different. Same company, and all I keep thinking about is maybe there's going to be reliability issues in the future. So I just kind of stuck with Sony. Sony is a little flatter in some ways. Sony may have a little more like neutral sound as far as the highs and the lows, but it's a clean sound. You're not going to notice how dull it might sound until you compare it to something that sounds more clear. But then you have something clear versus dull, you're going to always kind of naturally go for the clear, more higher pitched or more treble type of sound, because your mind's going to think it sounds better and it sounds louder, etc., when it might not necessarily sound as good. And some stuff that has really high highs or clear highs, they might not sound right with all music either. You know what I mean? So you got to think about that. Maybe if you like hip hop, you want a lot of bass, but what if you listen to classical music? What if you listen to different types of music that has more, that would need a different type of tone to it? And I think that's where Sony kind of excels at, in my opinion. Now, with that being said, it's all preference, whatever you want to get. It's all about utility, and for some people, some people it's all about sound. The bigger Sony speakers that sit tall like a tower, those are kind of heavy. They're not meant to be moved around. I have the smaller version. I think it's a 700, but I have also the 500, I believe. Honestly, I got that because I was thinking for the price, I'd rather have that than the boombox kind of one with the handle in it. But to be honest, I realized that one, it sounds okay, but two, it's still kind of cumbersome to pick up. It's not something you still want to move around. Even with me going to my garage, I hated picking it up, taking it to the garage. It was annoying. It was still a little awkward. If you're a female or you're a smaller person, you're going to think it's awkward if you do it so many times. Those I leave put now. I wish I never got the 500 one or whatever it is. I ended up getting the boombox joint. I actually like that one. I think it's on sale for $4 now. I think it was originally $6. And to be honest, when I saw the price tag, I was like, this is ridiculous. That's way too much. It doesn't make sense, but it actually is pretty decent. It gives you similar quality to that 500 speaker, except that it's portable, easier to carry, and the sound quality is pretty decent. The other one I have is I think it's the one right below it that I got. I ended up returning it. It didn't sound good enough. Like I heard the speakers rattling literally, and it couldn't handle the bass. I'd rather be loud and not like distorting than trying to hit a level and distorting and sound like it can't handle something. It was weird. I don't remember the model numbers, I'm sorry, but it's the one that goes below it with it's like a tube, and it has a retractable handle that goes in. The handle is convenient, yes, but other than that, it was kind of whack. I got the other Sony, the one that's on sale right now, I think for $150 or maybe $200. No, the one I returned, the last one was $200. The one I exchanged it for was the one with all the lights on it. That was, I think it's something X43 or something. I can't remember, but that's like $150. That one's not bad, but it has compared to this is the one I actually wanted to talk about. It's a Bose speaker. This is small and it's compact. It's still decent water resistant. I gotta look at the rating though, because I don't understand how it is with the exposed plug, but I put it in the shower, you know what I mean? Everything was good. I'm gonna tell you, the Sony one actually don't sound that good either. Now, if you play side to side, the Sony's gonna have a bigger projection. I mean, it's more speakers and it's just a bigger speaker in general. But when you think about that, it has cool lights on it and all that other stuff. But when you think about portability, say you go to a hotel, say you travel, it's still a little cumbersome to carry around. It doesn't have a handle, but you can grab it one hand, but it's still a little big, sort of. You know what I'm saying? This is small. This is like something you could put in your backpack easily. You can clip it. It's not super heavy. It charges USB-C. You can hook this up stereo to another Bose. I'm gonna tell you though, this doesn't sound bad at all. Now, if you're putting it down and you can even put it this way or you can put it this way, it'll kind of detect, it said, how it's laying, and it'll kind of adjust the sound accordingly. There's like, I think this is just like the air holes. I don't know. It helps with the sound, bass, whatever. When you're close to it, say you're sleeping and you're on a nightstand, it sounds decent. Definitely way better than your phone. I have a little Sony speaker like this too, this size, that I used to carry. That's just a step down. And I used to think that sounded good for a small speaker. In comparison, this sounds better. It's more full sounding. It ain't as bright sounding. So again, some songs you may want more energy. And when you hear something like this that's a little more neutral, it may come off like it's a little more monotone, only because the highs aren't as piercing, if that makes sense. So this has a full sound. It sounds pretty full. That's all I can say. The mids are pretty up front, if that makes sense. It's not booming bass, but it has a full sound in general, so it doesn't sound cheap and tinny. If you put this far away from you, it's still going to be better than your phone, but you're going to start losing that full sound. You're going to start losing basically the feel of bass, because it's not really bass like that. But when you have it really close to you, it kind of sounds like it got a full sound, because that's what makes you feel like you have bass in it and stuff like that. But if you put it far away, it's not gonna be as good for sure. But that's with any speaker. The further it is away, I mean, it's gonna sound less and less. But this speaker's so small. I even have my iPad, which I think has decent speakers in it. I was watching a movie, and this syncs up super quick. Way quicker even than my Sony's. As soon as I turn my phone or my iPad on, it knows it's on there. And it just like syncs really quick, like seamlessly. But I have my iPad sitting like right here, like basically next to the iPad, next to the screen. And I was like, this just sounds like how my iPad sounds. Let me turn it off. And I kept going back and forth. It sounds way better than the iPad speakers. So I kind of actually find, even though I like hooking my Sony's up, the sound quality isn't good enough, and it doesn't justify the fact that it's such a smaller-ish speaker. And I also like to maybe travel with it a little bit. This is a better buy for me. Even though this one is like 130, I think, and it's so close to the 150 speaker of the Sony, the 43, I think. The problem is I'm thinking like size-wise, the Sony's bigger, it's cooler, got lights, it's a bigger speaker, it's a louder speaker in a sense. I'm like, and it's only $20 more, I want to go for that one. But it's all about utility and as far as your use and how you want to use it. So when I look at it from that standpoint, if I could just have them all, I would have them all. But in reality, this serves a better purpose for me, for sure. It sounds way better than just your phone or some device, 100%. It's decent. I've even thought about maybe just getting another one. So if I'm watching my iPad, I felt weird. I was like, where do I place the speaker? In front of the screen? It's kind of weird. I'll put it on the side, but I'm thinking it's like the side, I'm thinking like I should have one here, and it's the screen in the middle. That way it comes off feeling more stereo. So I might end up even picking up another one and having a stereo vibe. I'm not sure. But to be honest, when I'm out and about or traveling, I don't really use my iPad directly. I have it hooked to a TV, so it's like, does it even matter if I have this? So this ends up sitting on a nightstand. I just listen to music. I don't need to be in a bed and have one speaker here and one speaker over here. It's kind of like redundant unless you have somebody with you and they want to hear the music next to their ears. Not really sure, but I definitely give it a thumbs up. If this was at a 5 stars, I would definitely give it 4, because there's always room for improvement, or you wish it could sound better, or this or whatever. I don't know. In general, I think it's a great buy. I think it's worth it. I think it's dope. Even if you're like me and you like JBLs or Sonys, there's a purpose for this. If your purposes are like mine, you'll definitely enjoy it and it'll be worth it. So with that being said, make sure you do everything at your top level. And remember, you're no competition with anybody except yourself. So make sure your next move is your best move, or at least your better move. I'm going to try my best. I don't know when I'm going to do it, but I'll put the model numbers of all the speakers I was talking about and kind of explain it through the text or a comment or something like that. But till next time, later.